Yeah, Starry here, bringing you a 1v1 today. We are on Faymonville approach, playing for today's spawning. On the left we have ClassyDavid as US Forces, and his loadout is Infantry Company, Rifle Company, and Airborne Company. Against him on the right we have VonAsten as the COH2, who has Fortifications, Special Operations, and Scavenge. This is game one of the Starcross Cup semi-finals. I believe this is one that Romeo himself didn't cover. I was quite eager to have a look at this one. Covered quite a few ClassyDavid matches. He was quite active in testing of the balance preview. I played quite a few games against him, and I know he played quite a few more against other people. So he should be in a very good position to show us what the strongest strategies are for these factions, especially US Forces. He's famous for his extremely strong USF play. Interesting, he's putting a position here to be able to fight from. Noticed when watching this tournament, a lot of players made their way to this and tried to fight from this position, and honestly it actually backfired a lot of the time. So it's interesting to see that Dave hasn't done that. He's just quite content to cap up the map. Both players are right now.
Rifle squad ready for action.
Also note the VonAsten not going for the Kubel. This is Faymonville approach is quite a small map, so probably one of the worst maps for the Kubel, but still a lot of players, including I think Talisman in this tournament, were going for the Kubel even on this map. Personally, I only go for the Kubel on the largest maps because I often lose it, and then I feel like I would much rather have had a Volkswagen squad for that manpower instead. Which I have a much easier time keeping alive, and still it's not like it's that much worse in the early game. In fact, both players have put up fortifications on their fuel points. They're making a push here. Right, so wants to stay in here, prevent the neutralize for as long as possible. It looks like it is going to be neutralized. Oh, unless those Volkswagens get there in time. Oh, what they do! But other ones coming on the flank. Dave's going to have to abandon this. Clutch timing there by that Fox squad getting in. And it looks like VonAsten actually managing to get onto Dave's cutoff here. So I think it's looking pretty good for VonAsten here. He's defused Dave's first push. He himself has now got some cutoff control. I think in this situation it might actually be worth just trying to finish that sandbag. Because even though he would lose this engagement regardless, if he ever wants to harass this point again, having that sandbag there would be quite useful. Now he's putting a sandbag on top of this cutoff as well. A lot of sandbag attempts. Probably, or it's unlikely to work given how many units are in the area. But if you can get a sandbag down on your opponent's cutoff, it is so strong, because every time you come back to harass, it's just that much harder for them to push you off. At least they have like a flamethrower or indirect fire, but it's not too commonly seen with either of these two factions, especially this early in the game. So Dave has gone for Lieutenant and made himself a 50 cal. We've seen a lot of double machine guns this tournament. And Dave being Another man behind it, but I think we've seen double Vickers as well, double MG34. Is this the comeback of suppression, maybe, this patch? .50 cal, of course, being extremely strong.
We're losing a capture point.
Kind of a reward for going lieutenant tier instead of going for the more safe captain tier. A lot of engagements going on across the map. It looks like VonAsten getting on to Dave's fuel at the same time Dave's harassing his fuel.
We're losing a capture point.
Ambulance from Dave as well. Looks like he's not intending on getting himself anything from, in terms of light vehicles, from Lieutenant tier. Just wants the machine gun.
What the hell am I meant to do with these recruits?
Or machine guns.
Ambulance taking the field.
There's also a bit of a fan of going for both officers, both lieutenant and captain, getting that extra free squad power on the field if he can squeeze into his build. Oh, that 50 cal taking quite a lot of damage here. Could actually get wiped. No.
Weapon rack is now accessible.
Yeah, Lieutenant trying to slug it out there, but two pioneers stay strong. But still, I feel like Dave has had a slightly superior map control these last minute and a half or so. VonAsten waiting for his Luchs, I imagine. He's actually gone for an MG34 before getting the Luchs, so has delayed his Luchs even further. On top of that build time nerf that it got. So this is what we'd expect to see an incendiary grenade, and then he would quite handily win this engagement. But he spent all his munitions on STG upgrades, so he doesn't have that available. And as a result, this engagement is actually quite close. These guys look like they're behind light cover. At least a few models of them were. Here's the MG34. Having trouble suppressing that squad. He must be behind heavy cover in that position. It looks like he's going to lose control of that, and that's problems. 50 cal gets in there, that's a big problem to dislodge. The Luchs doesn't shoot through buildings super quickly, and if the 50 cal activates piercing rounds, you know, with a bit of anti-tank grenade support, Luchs just really isn't that strong against the 50 cal in a building. And yes, this Luchs coming in at close to 9 minutes, very late. Gone are the 5-minute Luchses of old. And he's heading down south. Grenade tossed into the path. Oh, and Dave's gone for early grenade tech himself. Kind of impressive, his munitions control. He's got bars on all these squads. He still has munitions to burn for grenades. VonAsten, on the other hand, has only got 2 squads upgraded. This could be a wipe. No, Lieutenant retreats early, doesn't want to risk losing Lieutenant just to get that wipe. And very conservatively. Kind of surprising he didn't try to fight that for a little bit longer. So now he's heading up to his fuel again, but yeah, Dave's resource control has been superior so far. That delay to the Luchs, it's a bit costly
Capture point is being overrun.
for VonAsten. Because, I mean, if you compare the MG34 to the 50 cal, which one do you think has more firepower? So you can't really expect him to have the same impact on the game. Sprinting away. Forward ambulance as well from Dave here, using it to reinforce his 50. 50 cal. Not using the AP ammo. Just having problems hitting that lieutenant, even the behind light cover, quite clumped up there. A lot of health damage, but not getting many models. It looks like we've got some bazookas coming in from the side here. There's some pressure on the Luchs, they both connect. There it goes in. Luchs out here firing at max range, not getting his machine gun involved in this. Nice reaction times though there by Dave, dodging that grenade. And yeah, these Volkswagens not fully upgraded with the STGs, they're losing firefights to these barred riflemen. And this Luchs just isn't doing enough damage. When you go for a light vehicle, you expect to capitalize on that with a bit more map control than what we've seen from VonAsten, especially considering Dave already has major and very close to the amount of fuel for a Sherman now. If you go for the light vehicle, you want to inflict much more damage than this. Those re-echelons bullying the squad away. We've seen a Raketten from VonAsten. Nothing for it to fire at the moment. Raketten's in a unique position though, where if you do go for it earlier and your opponent hasn't gone for a light vehicle, you can use it to cap it. Of course it can retreat. So don't forget to use it as a capture squad. Squad flanking in here did get suppressed. 50 cal got out of the building. 50 cal taking a lot of damage but sprints away to safety. And MG wasn't quite set up in time, didn't get the suppression off. Rifleman forced it away with a grenade. They had time to retreat with his Luchs. Looks like he wants to repair it, but that was a time to push, try to get the wipe on the REs. Oh! Oh, squad down to that grenade. First wipe of the game. VonAsten really, hurting. He doesn't have the medics. It's costing me every time he's coming out. These squads coming out at low health, making the overall combat strength a lot lower. Making these engagements that much harder against these riflemen. And that was one of his STG squads that he lost as well. Looks like he is going for the Command Panther, so he's probably going to put up his med truck quite soon. And start saving for the Command Panther because he feels like he's quite far behind. Can't afford to tick tier 4. But no, instead of going for his mid truck, he's going for another Volksgrenadier. Second Raketen definitely required against the incoming Sherman. The rebuilt Volks is a bit surprising. Maybe he wants to get it early now before the Riflemen get Vet 3, when it would really struggle even more. Comes the Sherman. Of course, with all the munitions spent on grenades from Dave, doesn't have the machine gun upgrade cooking on that yet. Heading those rifles forward. Oops, fresh Raketen not on prioritised vehicles there. Dave using smoke on a Sherman to help that squad retreat. I think it would have been safe anyway, but he's not taking any chances. Just shows how strong his micro is that he has the presence of mind to do something like that.
A capture point is being overrun. Serial down. Paratroopers ready.
And there are the paratroopers for Dave. It's gone for airborne. Looks like my airborne picks have been justified now. I've been mainly playing as airborne when I play US Forces, and Dave's doing it. Must be right. Yeah, dropped in some paratroopers on this map. You can make use of the Thompsons. There are a few shot blockers. There's a bit of room for a close quarter squad to get in range. But the M1919s are very nice as well, especially once the Paras get to Vet 2. Oh! Squad down. They vaulted the fence and didn't even start to retreat after that. That was a mistake from VonAsten, that one, I feel.
Our supply line just got cut off.
Could also be a wipe. Looks like he's not going to chase, going to go after this squad. And VonAsten, realizing that, gets off the wrong side of the heavy cover. In fact, retreats even. Comes the lieutenant sprinting up. Does have a sprint when it's out of combat. Pops off a Faust here. But there's nothing to follow up on it. Put the Sherman out of commission, but only for a short while, and he doesn't have SCGs on all squads. He's got to be careful about his munitions expenditure. Feel like VonAsten probably trying to spread himself a little bit too thin here. Now he's lost 2 squads. Should probably try play a bit more compact. Try bait that Sherman into his Raketens rather than spreading out trying to harass Dave's section of the map until he gets his command Panther. Just play a bit more conservatively.
Panther command tanks have reached the front. Deploy as needed.
Here it comes now. Didn't have long to wait. Swinging up to the north here. Got 2 squads up here, but it doesn't have machine gun upgrade on it yet, so it's not going to do too much damage to these rifles. Interesting that he's leaving on prioritized vehicles. I was worried about the Sherman charging in, because the main gun can snipe models from time to time. Firing against infantry, definitely good to leave the main gun firing. Oh, he's going in for the ambulance. Oh, but he misses the shot. Backs away. He's going to take some bazookas here though. Oh, maybe not. They're going to bounce. Let's take a little bit of damage. Remember, hand out anti-infantry or anti-tank. Generally does a quarter of its damage on deflection. Ooh! Squad down again. He's just going so deep with these squads. Trying to spread himself too thin. He's got so few squads trying to cover so much territory. Let's play more conservatively when he's behind. Look for an opportunity rather than trying to overextend. And there is the Jackson. The kittens positioning themselves now. Oh, when the Sherman goes down, and that's what I was talking about. Managed to bait that Sherman into a position near his Rakitans. And he gets the kill as a result. Nicely done. Man, Dave's on top of it with his grenade dodges, barely taking any damage from these incendiary grenades. Quite impressive considering the lag that seems to be happening since the server maintenance the other day. He's in top fighting form. Still hasn't got his mid HQ though. At this stage that has cost him a lot of manpower and reinforcements. Going for an anti-tank gun. Para dropped that in. He doesn't have to get the officer. Let's use that fuel for another tank. Well, at this stage he doesn't even have to. He can win. All the infantry engagements quite handily, and if he plays at the correct range with his Jackson, tries to keep his M1 in the right position, he should be able to deal with what VonAsten has quite efficiently. Did go for the M1919s on the Paras though. Yeah, once they get Vet 2, once they get that accuracy bonus, then they start to shred. Here come the bazookas. There's the machine gun still there, exact same position. Doesn't run his rifle squad into that MG, knows it's there. Interesting to see him running as an officer around on one model. He's one of the players who does make use of the officer. Oh, no chase. Actually got a couple of these light AT mines here.
Enemy forces have 300 points. Get away from all this killing.
So Dave doesn't really have to do much at the moment, just hold on to 2 VPs. You can get double munitions, obviously that's going to be very useful for the P-47 rocket strafe. It'll help him greatly when he has to fight the Panther. And it's also going for the double machine guns here. Perhaps, you know, without riflemen smoking, with no mortar or pack out, so Dave doesn't actually have that much access to smoke right now. That's why VonAsten going for double machine guns can be quite useful. And yeah, just doesn't have any indirect fire either. So can't get smoked, can't get bombed out, and machine guns are quite a strong idea. So Dave's going to go for another Sherman though. Perhaps that's where he's going to get his smoke from. As have, you know, the officer smoke on the lieutenant, but it's only one squad.
capture point is under attack.
VonAsten going for another Volksunion squad.
Tank support is here. Sherman ready.
He's really been struggling for munitions and manpower this game. Still hasn't managed to get up his healing. Relying on those mid packs the whole game. Here comes the major recon pass, getting the lay of the land. Because he knows that the Panther is in base. Safe to try and make this assault with his Sherman. To creep this Raketen a little bit further forwards, go after the Sherman.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
Gets one shot off anyway as the Sherman comes forward. Just going to abandon that.
Enemy movement! On the flank!
Yeah, should be alright.
Where are they coming from?
Jackson there on hand to fight Panther. Looks like he's going to take engine damage. It's going to be stretching the repairs quite thin. Doesn't have the repair upgrade either. VonAsten in a tough position here. Took out their Sherman, but hasn't been enough to get himself back in this game. He's so far behind that Luchs coming in late. Just didn't have enough of an impact. He's been on the back foot ever since.
Orders complete. Position und pushback. Gruppe, ready.
Still, the VP's not too bad for VonAsten. Still a quite close to even game in terms of VPs, so there's life for him yet. It's just as Dave, you know, he's pretty much supply locked now. Almost at 100, whereas VonAsten 15 behind. Still hasn't got his tech up. Doesn't have any healing. B-34 doing some good work there. Dave kind of just playing it cool. Uh-oh. This could be trouble. His tank gun in an exposed position here. Incendiary grenade goes on. Looks like that's going to get cleared out. Oh no, he gets out of the flames just in the nick of time. 50 cal sprinting away. CG squad on the chase. So they did get killed somehow. Perhaps that squad came out of pinned. Finished the job. Kid's up there. Could try kill it. Oh, he's going to take a grenade. Could go down himself here. He thought that was a guaranteed wipe. That's why he threw the smoke, I think. Maybe he's going to try steal it. Also box the MG34 from suppressing him. So this MG34 positioning has seemed to work out for him quite well so far. I haven't seen that one before, but it seems to be preventing Dave's assaults on that fuel quite effectively. Yeah, he didn't quite get the REs, upset about that, but doesn't have the STGs. Probably a large part of the reason. Whoa, he's got a truck. Is he going for his tier 4 tech? He is. Bold move by VonAsten, because if he loses his command Panther, he's dead. After spending all that fuel on tech, there's no coming back if he loses his command Panthers, so he's just got to make sure he doesn't lose it, basically, otherwise he stands absolutely no chance of winning this game. But yeah, his squads are getting bullied off the map every time. Too much firepower. And these barred up riflemen. Tracing grenades going, but yeah, they no longer damage buildings. Just make them less useful, in my opinion. Oops. Okay. And now Dave is aware of that tech structure. You're going to try to put a siege on it here. That was 50 cal in a good position to prevent the harassing folks. He's got his anti-tank gun also in the vicinity. Oh, Stern Pioneer's taking a lot of damage. 50 cal trying to suppress, but there are a lot of squads he's trying to fight with it. Hasn't retreated yet. There it goes. Jackson Vet 2. We need to get that to Vet 2. It feels like that's veered up quite quickly. Oh, see, I don't think that shot went off because he activated the high velocity armor piercing rounds. They're bugged there. Keep that Luchs alive though. Vet 4, only 17 kills however. A lot of health damage, but hasn't got that many models killed. But Dave floating a lot of manpower now. He's just at supply limit basically. He's got nothing to spend it on. So no mid truck for VonAsten. He's figured he's gone this far. He's gonna keep it up. So maybe he's gonna look for another tank. He's facing off against 2 machine guns here. Could go for the walking Stuka, but it's quite risky. It'd be quite hard to keep it alive, especially if you don't have mines. And he just doesn't have the munitions for mines. And doesn't really have the time to plant them either. Oh! There goes the major. Especially on a map like this where there's so many entries to the base to try to find that piece of rocket artillery. He's going for the P4. So once he gets his P4, he's probably going to have to make a push. Try knock a whole bunch of stuff out. Otherwise Dave's probably going to continue inching out his victory here. Dave, however, with his liberal grenade usage, doesn't have enough munitions for the P-47s. He doesn't have that get out of jail free card. Looks like he's making an assault on the southern VP. Is also there. It's going to take engine damage. Oh, and he runs over a light mine. Jackson's making its way over now. P4 trying to do some damage. It's about to get opened up by the Jackson. Anti-tank gun there as well. Uh-oh, P4 could be in trouble here. Where's the Raketin? It's in the middle. So I was in a decent position to flank the Jackson. Paratroopers. Forcing his squads back. Oh, Raketin in big trouble now. Lieutenant up close. Raketin's going to go down. And does go down before it takes another anti-tank gun shot. Jackson coming back in. Smoke blocking off the MG34. Ooh, that was a good hit. 34 now has to retreat. He's going to try to kill the Raketin. But that is not what VonAsten needed. To lose his Raketin. Because as we saw there, sneaking up into a camouflage position and flanking worked really well against the Jackson. It just didn't have enough support. If he had both his MGs there, perhaps it would have gone a bit more smoothly. He's trying to hold up here with the other one. He's got his whole army involved in a push. Try get in a position where it's his VonAsten's whole army against Dave's maybe like 70% of his army. Hope that they had an advantage that way. Now that Dave's lost his major, he does have a bit more room in his army. Probably fit in one more unit. Perhaps a Pathfinder squad might actually be quite nice. There's the Raketin again. M1 to be getting some juicy hits in. Penetrating every shot even without the AP rounds.
75 points remaining.
Let's control this VP in the north. Has to go divert the forces to deal with that. He's only got one squad with smoke, but he's making the most of it. Oh man, some Panther going in for a base raid. Once again, the Panther misses the shot on the ambo. Cost him his Vet 5 Luchs. Gets ambo now. Probably not a favourable trade, especially when Dave's got 1,000 manpower in the bank. Doesn't really concern him that much, whereas VonAsten desperately needed that Luchs. Oh, Panther misses that shot. And Jackson's joining in. A squad nearby for a Faust. I mean, anti-tank grenade though. And now there is. P4's up there. Oh, but so is the M1. P4 bounces in. Everything's connecting on that. There's a 4. So a bit of a failed push there by VonAsten. Now he's got his tanks out of commission for a long time with repairs. He's actually gone for another Sherman. He's made himself a mortar as well. It looks like he's going to try to go over 100 supply here. I called that a failed push, but at least VonAsten got control of this VP, I suppose. But, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that Dave was at 280. Be a wipe. What gets away? Is that another dead Rakitten? Yes. There's the perils of using a Rakitten. You want it to be up front in a sneaky position. Ooh! To get some juicy hits, but can often get wiped as a result. Quite a few of these light AT mines here though for Dave. Sherman isolated here, Panther and P4 on the scene. VonAsten looking for the kill. M1 rotates, no squads nearby for an anti-tank grenade yet. Light AT mine hits the P4. P4 could go down here, comes down to penetrating hits. Panther's going to continue the chase. He feels like this is his moment. Got to make it happen, but he takes engine damage. Oh no! And the bazookas are there. Command tank's gonna go down. No Rakitten for VonAsten. And that should be the game. Oh. Well, I think going for the Command Panther wasn't a bad idea, because he was quite far behind at that stage. Did need some bit more anti-tank firepower, but having no healing throughout the game, I'm sure, cost him a tremendous amount of manpower. And in the early game, he was just struggling for munitions so much between the healing and the grenades. He just couldn't afford to upgrade all the squads with STGs, which meant those hard-up riflemen were just running over the top of his Volksgrenadiers. I think delaying the start of his Luchs called MG34 was also a mistake. You're going to get that light vehicle out. You need it out as soon as humanly possible to make the most out of its uncontested early game. But well played by Dave. He held a good portion of the map. I know a lot of players complain about how in the early phases of the game, before US forces get their first officer, it feels like, okay, we have an edge. And that didn't seem like it was the case here at all. This game, they played those first 5 minutes or so very well. Oof. VonAsten says GG. So yeah, just overall a very solid game from Dave, honestly. Just didn't really overexpose himself at any stage. Just played a very consistent game and ground VonAsten out throughout this match. Got that lead early. Pretty much as soon as he got his 50 cal, felt like he was in a good position. The Luchs came a bit late, didn't do enough damage. Sherman came out very early, shut down the Luchs, and there Dave just kept his lead, just played tight and drained those VPs. Well, I'll wrap on that, guys. If you like your game recast by me, details are in the video description below. Otherwise, I'll catch you all for the next thrilling installment. Goodbye and good luck.